What's up, everybody? Welcome to the horrorheadspodcast. I am Rich Mallery, here with my co-host, Jerry Lourenco.
Fucking ready to rock tonight, Rich.
Yeah, so am I, and I'm super excited for a couple of reasons. Number one, this is our season 1 finale, so we made it through. We fucking did it. Yeah. I don't know how we did it, but we got through a whole season. But we survived. And but
my
even
liver
more,
will disagree.
Yeah, my liver and some of the guests that we've had on's livers might disagree. But we also have, I'm really excited to announce this, we have some very special guests here tonight. We have the hosts of the Sips and Screams podcast, Allie and Ash. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Thanks for it. We're so excited. Thank you.
Is it Allie and Ash or Ash and Allie?
I know.
What is it?
Either or.
Yeah,
Okay.
Ash and Allie works. Ash and Allie works. You can be
It's
first,
better?
Ash. That's okay.
Yeah.
I'll let that one go.
My good friends call me Ash. Whenever someone says Ashley, I'm like, what? Like, it's really weird. Yeah, so yeah.
Feel that.
Yeah.
Well, welcome. Tonight we're going to do some drinking. This is a holiday party, and we're going to have some cocktails tonight. We're also going to talk about 2 holiday-themed movies. We're going to talk about Black Christmas from 1974, and we're going to talk about the 2012 film Silent Night, not to be confused with the 100 other Silent Night movies they are.
Yeah.
This is the one from 2012, which is a loose remake of Silent Night, Deadly Night. So super excited to get into that. But before we kind of get into those movies, as I said, this is a cocktail party and no one's drinking yet. So I pre-made an old-fashioned, and I have it right here.
Fancy.
Jerry
Look
is
at
about
that.
to pour his. Yeah, so I did something a little different with mine. Instead of orange peels, I used lemon, which is different.
Interesting.
And I had multiple parties at my house over the weekend, and we made drinks with rosemary. So I had a little bit left, and I just kind of put that in here for a
I
little
love
extra.
that. Very festive.
It'd be a
Very
video
festive.
podcast, guys, because like people are missing out.
They don't see this beautiful cocktail.
It's
that I
beautiful.
crafted.
We can vouch for it though. It's beautiful.
It is
That's very
beautiful.
festive. Yeah.
It is
Yeah,
beautiful.
Merry Christmas.
And also I use orange bitters. That's what I
Oh
wanted
my
to do.
goodness.
So we got a little orange and lemon going on here. I am excited to sip this before my ice melts. What do y'all got? What's everybody drinking tonight?
Ash and I we're taking it back to our first episode where we were doing mint juleps. Neither one of us have mint tonight.
No
though.
mint.
You know, couldn't get mint.
Just juleps.
It wasn't available, so it's
That's a fail.
it's a julep. Yeah, it is.
But not
I've gotta
available
say,
in Maryland or Florida.
Maryland
There's
or
no
Florida.
Mint. There was no
Yeah.
mint to be found.
Couldn't get it.
Oh, thank
So
goodness.
So you're just drinking
What?
bourbon.
It's
Wow,
bourbon.
no.
I have soda water.
Oh.
I have Topo Chico. If you listen, I always do Topo Chico in mine. A little
Yeah,
bit
what
of
is
simple
that
syrup and
exactly?
some lime joe. It's a really good sparkling water. Yeah, you know what? We had it a lot when I lived in California. We used to get it a lot. It's so good. It's like the best sparkling water, I think. So I always
Hopefully
have
they
it.
endorse
smaller
us next
bubbles.
season.
Yeah, it's so good. You do. You have to explore it. But it's good.
And
Have you tried yours, Ash? How's yours?
Mine's good, but I put a little bit of simple syrup in mine just
Okay.
to like
Yeah,
make it.
I did a
to
little
lime.
bit. I just
Yeah.
don't like sweet drinks, but yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good.
So
This
we're
is the
with
reason
you
why
on
we're
the
here,
bourbon.
What kind of whiskeys are you guys doing? Like, what'd you pour?
This I have 4 roses.
Nice.
Yeah, and
Love it.
I'm not going to take credit for that. Again, current husband, he likes bourbon.
Current husband.
I chose it. Ash, what do you drink?
I have Canadian Crown Royal.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
And as a Canadian,
I love Crown. I love it.
homage. Yeah, it's really good actually. If you're gonna drink, neither of us like whiskey, so we like this. So
Sorry.
We're doing this for you guys. This is for you guys.
Sorry, but
We
we're
love
really
it.
not that sorry.
I'm not brave enough to do an old fashioned, so
Mm-mm.
I'm drinking Bullet tonight. And why we had y'all on, other than the fact that we're fans of your podcast, is y'all drink on your podcast, which is super great. And if anyone checks them out, they have a different themed cocktail every episode, which is super cool.
Mhm.
Jerry and I are not that fancy. We just usually drink straight bourbon. This is like the first time we're doing cocktails because we're a bit lazy. But
Yeah, but
Um,
I listened to your
I love it.
Terrifier podcast, or not the Strangers podcast you guys did, and like you're just drinking horrible bourbon you don't like, and you still drink it.
you gotta get through
I
it,
was
right?
like,
You never
so
know.
for
You never know.
guys, the third one was a little better.
Yeah, we
You don't
try to do
care.
something different each episode. Like, and I try new bourbons, and most of the time they're a fail. Every now and then you get something that's tolerable. We'll see.
The best is your reaction though. I'm like, oh, is it good?
You're like, no.
No, not this one.
Just wait till you check out our Friday the 13th episode. We had 40 ounces of I was drinking malt liquor, and it was absolutely
Malt
gnarly,
liquor,
and
no.
it was bad. Yeah, I like barely made it through the
No.
episode, and afterwards I was texting Jerry. I had the worst headache, and I'm like, I'm never drinking
It's
this ever
disgusting.
again. But we did it. We do it for the fans. That's why we do it.
Yeah,
That's
I
right.
love it.
Yeah.
And they appreciate it, you know? Fans appreciate
do.
it. Yeah.
So Jerry, what do you got going on over there? I see you doing a bunch of high-tech stuff.
I am throwing it back to like a previous episode where I did make a old fashioned live, and that's what I'm doing right now. So I made
Oh.
like 3/4 of it here, and right now I'm just adding the orange and the orange rinds,
Wow.
and I'm throwing in a little cherry. And I
Oh.
too am using bullet bourbon tonight. It's
Okay.
Nice.
perfect
Nice.
for an old fashioned. I used about 2 ounces of that. I have some simple syrup. I have some regular bitters here. I'm not as fancy as Rich, but this is my final product.
looks good.
Oh,
So,
that's lovely.
there we go.
That looks
Also
prettier
rich
than mine.
mahogany.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
So,
cheers, everybody. Merry Christmas.
yeah.
Cheers. Merry Christmas.
Mm.
I tell you what, that rosemary,
bad.
big thumbs up on the rosemary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ooh,
I love that. We'll have to try that.
Yeah.
It just
Well,
adds a whole
Could you
nother.
get mint in LA? 'Cause,
You can't. You're not getting it out here on the East Coast. I don't know.
I'll ship you a bushel of mint.
Mint.
not a bushel to be found, even like a little sprig. There was nothing.
Chew
We
some
are
gum ash
blessed
and
out
swing
here.
it back.
Yeah.
It'll taste like it.
Pop a mint,
you know?
pop a mint.
Yeah, it'll taste like
Right
it.
in
You're just
there.
gonna create that flavor in your mouth, you know?
Throw an Altoid
You
in
think I
there.
didn't think about getting
Yeah.
peppermint?
That's awesome. We may never get to any movies tonight. We might just sit here and drink and
Just
just kind of
drink.
talk for a bit. And
You guys look very classy. You look very
throw-
classy.
Yeah.
throw this
It's
whole,
not a
like,
bad way to
episode
spend an evening.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really
So-
feel like talking about movies anyway. Like, who cares? You know?
Jerry's dressed as Santa.
Yes.
Very
Yes.
fitting.
We had a whole season where we talk about movies. Do we really
Yeah, we don't need to do it anymore. We're good. We're good. We'll pick
Do you
we'll
have
pick
a
it up in
flamethrower back
January.
there, Jerry? You got a flame-
I
Wood
have
chipper?
2
You all
flamethrowers.
Ooh. Oh.
Yeah, we'll get to it in a minute, but like I know when I was watching Silent Night, I was telling Jerry, I'm like, at first I was kind of really bored I was bored and I wasn't really feeling it. And Jerry's like, did you get to the flamethrower yet? And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm sticking with this. All right.
This is
I was about to
amazing.
turn it off.
But
and
you
I'm just
gotta
like,
wait.
all right.
You gotta wait some time for the flamethrower. from Silent Night.
I want to talk about
The
weapons.
wood chip. I want to talk about the wood chipper when
yeah,
we get there.
we're
Oh,
gonna
we'll get there.
into
Hell yeah,
all
we'll
of
get
that.
into that.
And I mean, yes, I understand that this movie was kind of cheesy, but like when you think about any like holiday horror, is there any like that's like awesome? There's like very, very few. So you had already
This
chosen.
one's awesome.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You chose Black
It's
Christmas.
like
I'm like, I
Thanksgiving.
can't. Yeah, I can't choose something like serious. I'm like, they chose Black Christmas. We'll probably have some good conversation about that. I'm like, let me just throw something out there and see what everyone thinks. But so guys, we're so happy you're on the show. I know we met a while back on Instagram and we had this great synergy because your podcast is kind of similar to our podcast, except like produced way better. So if anyone hasn't checked them out, definitely check them out.
The video?
because it sounds awesome. I mean, they do such a great job. And as Rich mentioned, they're a lot of fun. They always have like a theme cocktail to match whatever film that they're watching. And to me, that was like the coolest thing I've ever heard in my life. And I'm like, I need to talk to these people immediately. And we hit it off. And you're here today. We knew we had a party with you, and here we are at the Creepmas cocktail party. So it's pretty
Oh,
fun.
I love it.
Creepmas. That's so good.
Creepmas cocktail party. So just a couple questions for you guys. So really, like why horror films? Like, how did you get into this particular genre? Like, why?
Allie, you wanna take that one?
Yeah, it's Well, everyone, if you don't know, so Ash and I are twin sisters, so obviously grew up together. We've been watching horror films since I think we were 5, 6 years old. It was our father that got us into this.
Too young.
So too young. So we would, this is how it happened. We would like watch horror movies as a family, and we were the youngest, the twin sisters as the youngest, and it was Halloween was the first horror movie we watched, and I swear, as a family, we watched it together. And I guess 5, 6 years old, we were hooked. And ever since then, this was back in the day when, you would go to Blockbuster and you would rent the VHSs and you had to select them based off of the cover. And so we would go, our father would take us on like a Friday night and you would go and you select it based on what that cover showed. And we always like to choose the creepiest ones and we would pop them into the VCR and watch them, every weekend. So yeah, from a very young age, we got into it. And it continued throughout our whole life. And we haven't lived together in the same state in quite some time now, but whenever we are together, we like to get together and watch the latest ones. So yeah, it continued.
Sam, I'm so jealous. I talk about this all the time. I'm sick about hearing these pro horror families that actually had their parents that actually supported it and introduced you to some fine films. I mean, 5 years old watching Halloween. I mean,
we weren't watching like Disney Channel. We were watching
we were so into it.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Halloween 2 sticks with me. The needle in the eye. I remember that. That's a vivid childhood memory.
I feel like I'm being attacked right now because I was watching Disney, but I was like 30 when I was watching it. But that's a completely different story.
Yeah, Jerry has another podcast you don't know about. Yeah, that's
you guys can branch out.
It's made me a little inappropriate when I talk to kids. I'm like, oh, what's your favorite movie? Have you seen The Shining? And they're like, what? Ask a kid if they've seen The Shining. I'm like, oh, sorry, I just saw it when I was like 7. So
grow up, kids.
That was grow up already.
That's awesome. And my other podcast is about Lizzie McGuire, but that's another story. Okay. So we're talking about it. Podcast. What made you two decide to get together and start a podcast about horror films?
Yeah. So, we talk about horror movies all the time anyway. And so we kind of had the idea. I actually inspired this. I have to give some credit here to the Bill Simmons Rewatchables podcast. I listen to that religiously, but I'm like, oh, they don't really do horror movies. And I had not gone into the podcast world and searched, I found out about you guys on Instagram, right? And some of these other podcasts, but I'm like, let's do something similar where we talk about our favorite movies and break it up into categories and do a podcast. And because we live in different states, we can do it virtually and can edit it on the back end, but just it'll be something fun for us to do, like a fun hobby for us to spend time together. And that's why we did it. And we started it out, we didn't know where it was going to go, but it's been really, really fun. And just kind of getting started, excited to keep going with more episodes.
Yeah, Jerry and I got into this because we wanted an excuse to drink on a Tuesday night, and that was really it.
I love that. I mean, that's
if
just
we say it's a podcast,
it
legitimizes us. It's like, oh yeah, we're not alcoholics. We're actually content creators now.
Exactly.
I have to do it for the pod.
For the podcast. And you save conversations for the podcast. I don't know. Ash and I find ourselves do it. It's like, save it for the pod,
I don't want to talk about it now. I want to be fresh.
We do it all the time. I cut them off. I'm like, wait. I'm like, don't tell me what you think yet.
Yeah, don't. Exactly. Yeah.
Not yet. Let's let it be a surprise. Exactly.
I think I annoy my current husband, though, because he'll be like, I can't talk about it. I'm like, no, I don't want your input. I don't want to have my own thoughts. Listen to the podcast.
Wants to inception you.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So, I've listened to your podcast quite a few times, and you have this section in it where you basically give each film a scare rating. And I'm kind of curious. One, what is your reference when you're inside your head for both of you when you're giving the scare rating, and what are you comparing these films to? And a second part of that question is, what do you think is the scariest film that you ever watched?
Yeah, so we call I know you guys call yours something different. Ours is Bloody Knives. You guys have, right? Bloody Knives. Yeah.
Yes.
Scale. So ours is the Screamometer. So it's 1 to 10. But we never agree. Sorry, we are always I think our rating system probably is different, but we definitely have the things we think are the most scary. I think we agree on the scariest movies.
Yeah. But I think it has to be when I think of it though, Ash, like the 1 to 10, like a 10 has to be something when you
Here we
watch
go.
it, even on
Yeah.
yeah, I have very strong feelings. Even on rewatch, you had to be sitting there and actually like it was unsettling to you, right? And it stuck with you. For me, that's what I will give a 10. It has to stick with you. It has to be unsettling. It has to actually like make you uneasy watching it. As
So
opposed to just being a good movie.
what film is that?
Oh, number one for me is Paranormal Activity.
Yes, that's a 10.
Really?
Will
Both of
be, I
you?
think, for a long time. Nothing's beat that for me. Yeah, both of us. 10 out of 10. Paranormal
Scariest
Activity.
as a watch, like its own movie, just like sitting there watching it. I agree. Like the scariest. I think it's like one of the scariest movies of all time, if not the scariest.
Even on rewatch.
Wow. Yeah.
No.
Okay. So we're not going to loop Rich into the Paranormal Activity
I
conversation
hate that
Because he hates it.
He hated
I
it.
hate
The
You
it.
original-
have to be
you hate
into
the original.
you have to be
I hate
into
it.
the found footage, right?
Yeah,
I hate found
I
footage.
love it.
Yeah, I hate found
It-
footage.
Rich, have
I
you
can't get
watched it
into
alone though, like with the lights off at home?
I have.
Alone,
Have you
yeah.
done
In the
that? You have?
dark.
It was a rewatch. I rewatched it by myself because I was like, let me
Okay.
give it another chance. And I think
You
I've seen
gave
it
it
like,
another chance.
I think I've seen it like 3 times at this point because I'm always
Really?
like, let me give it another chance. At this point, I'm done. But yeah, the found footage genre in general, I can't suspend
do that.
disbelief. I can't get
So,
into it.
so
yeah.
you watched Paranormal Activity and then slept like a baby. You went to bed. You're like la la la. You
I
didn't
mean,
have
I
any-
probably was on edibles or,
Sorry.
drank a lot of bourbon.
Okay,
So
okay,
yeah, I
that's a
did
different
sleep like a baby.
like night night.
Yeah.
Assisted baby sleeping. That's how he
Yeah,
got there.
I mean, probably had
That's
a
awesome.
Xanny
I
or
love
two,
Paranormal
who knows?
Activity.
All right. So
Yeah,
Jerry
okay,
likes
you
the
love
found
it.
footage.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
I'm a huge fan of found footage, but I would say I'm an extremely huge fan of Paranormal Activity. I love like, the entire series.
Yeah.
I tried like talking like my professor and like doing like my college thesis on like like
Really?
didn't
Oh, I
pan
love
out.
that.
Didn't happen. But I would have made
can
up
still
half
do
of
it.
it anyway, and I would have cited Rich. It wouldn't have worked out. Would have failed. But I'm a huge fan. So I mean, here we are. We're in December. It's actually the December 12th. So tomorrow's Friday the 13th, which is
Yeah,
pretty
it is.
exciting to have in December. But just thinking back this year, it was a pretty great year in horror. So I'm curious to hear from the both of you what you thought was the best film to come out this year.
This year.
This year.
Can I be like it came out on streaming this year? 'Cause I have-
Any 2024.
Okay. Like, I mean, we just did a podcast at Late Night with the Devil is like one of my favorite
Yeah.
all-time horror movies. It came out this year and it was like a delight. It was a delight. Just
It
wonderful.
was a delight. Yeah.
Did
Mine.
you guys see that
did
one
the
in
one.
the theater at all?
No, we
No.
watched it together, like in June, I think, right, Ash?
Okay.
Like on streaming. Yeah, we watched it
Yeah.
together. So good.
Completely
Did you
different
watch it in
experience
theater?
in the theater. Yeah, I
Oh,
didn't like
really?
it at home, but in the theater, the way it's done, as you probably know, you feel like you're in the audience of the
Yeah.
dark
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
And they did a
I
really
loved
good
it.
job with that. Yeah, I loved it. Well, I didn't say I loved it. I liked it a lot in the theater. I rewatched it at home, did not like it as much, but it's
Mhm.
if it does play ever again, like it's worth going to see in the theater for sure.
And I wonder if you hadn't watched it in the theater, if it would have been different watching it home for the first time.
Possibly,
Like,
yeah,
when
because
we
I
watched
know
it.
all the tricks. I know everything that's gonna
Yeah,
happen.
we were so excited about it.
Oh, it was so good.
But the,
Yeah,
the
it's-
other one that I wanted to mention too was it's What's Inside. I think it was like a Netflix one. Did you guys see
Yeah, we
this
did.
one?
We did episode on that. Yeah.
Oh, you did? Yeah. Okay.
Oh, you
Sorry. I
did?
didn't-
Oh, okay. We'll listen to
but
that.
I'll have to listen to that because I loved that one. And that was another one, I think, from the very beginning to the end, just a delight to watch. And just, such a
and
great
such
one. Great
a-
ending. Innovative.
No exposition either. That one, you're
No.
just like, it's like a
Figuring it
just
out.
crazy, like with your brain. It's like a brain mush thing.
So
figure it
unexpected that film.
Yes.
Went into it completely blind, thought it was probably going to be the dumbest movie of
Me too.
2024. But
Me too.
it for me, it's not my top, but it's definitely probably top 5 for sure.
Yeah.
It was a great film. Rich, you want to weigh in? What do you got?
Yeah, I would say
Don't say long legs.
I liked
I
Little Legs
liked
a lot,
Long
but
Legs.
I wouldn't put
Didn't
that as
like
my
it.
top one. I would probably say The Substance is probably the
Mm.
best
Oh,
movie of the year.
So I really like The Substance
Yeah.
too. We just watched that
just
like
watched it.
a couple weeks ago and really liked that too. Long legs, not a fan.
Okay, so my thing with Long Legs, I texted Allie after I watched it. I was like, oh my God, like what, like Nicolas Cage, like what is happening in this movie? But the more
I felt
I
like
think
I'd
about
seen
it,
it
I'm like,
before.
yeah, but the more you think about it, I'm like, oh, I did like that cottage scene. Like, little things kind of stick with you. So I think it's like the gift that keeps on giving.
It's better on the rewatch.
I think it was the
Yes.
hype. I think it was so hyped up
First time I saw Longlegs, I was like, it was okay. I was like, it was decent. And then I watched it a second time and I was like, okay, I really love this movie now. It's like,
Liked
it's
it a
a, you
lot
gotta
better.
We
watch
gotta
it
do
all the
that.
time.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I've only seen it the one time, but Substance really liked it. It's a trip, but loved that actually. We just watched that recently.
It is so crazy. The third act. I'm like, oh my God, what have I watched?
Again, completely unexpected. It almost turns into like a
Unhinged.
different
How?
like film.
It's so crazy.
It was insane, and we talked about it quite a bit on our show. We never spoiled really what happens in the third
Yeah.
act.
Yeah.
But
It's good
for
though.
anyone listening, definitely if you haven't seen it yet, I mean, it's my top film as well for 2024.
It is.
Absolutely loved it, and just with the cast and the
Demi
film that it
Moore.
was, I didn't know if I was going to like is this going to be a horror film? Is this going to be something that I really like? And it won me over probably in 10-15 minutes. So
Yeah.
great
It's like
film.
grotesque horror.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's not my type of horror at all. Like
Me,
body
yeah,
horror
me
type.
neither. But I liked it was almost like set like in the
It
80s.
was-
Like it was modern
Love
day, but like
that.
it was so great.
So-
Yeah.
Well, we were watching it and like this was a mistake. We were like having
were eating.
Thanksgiving Day
Oh,
leftovers.
ooh.
Leftovers, like,
Watching it, and
eaten
we're like,
before.
okay, I know I'm not hungry anymore.
I don't want cranberry sauce.
Oh,
Wait,
like,
Rich,
that was a
Rich and Jerry, I
mistake.
have a question. I have a question for you there with the Substance because I've been watching like the Oscars predictions and stuff, and it got nominated for Golden Globes. Do we think it's going to get any Oscar noms?
No, hell
I
no.
hope
No.
so.
No.
I
No.
want it
No,
to. It's
No.
about
I do too.
time. It's about time for more horror.
Just for
honestly.
acting, yeah,
Mm.
and the
I
directing.
agree.
I thought she did a good job.
I mean, I think the only way it would is if they want to like
Mhm.
just give Demi Moore a nom just for being in the industry
Lifetime
for so
achievement,
long.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they'll just maybe they throw her in as like, but I don't think they have a chance in hell at the Oscars. Too highbrow, right?
Yeah, well, if they did, I'd be like proud of it. I don't know.
Me too.
Oh yeah,
It
I mean
wasn't.
it'd be
Yeah.
amazing. And it's
Yeah.
funny, like
Unique screenplay.
I read this on the movie today is that so Universal funded the movie. I think they paid the budget of like $16 million or something like that. And they wanted her to change the ending because they thought it was too bloody and gory. And she the director wouldn't, so they said, well, screw it, we're not going to release this film. Mubi ended up picking it up for probably nothing, and then it made like 70 million in the box office.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like,
It
Yeah.
did like really
what do the major studios know, right? Yeah.
It was brilliant.
That bloody. Yeah. Again, third act, crazy.
Yes, just watch it. You're not ready.
So I mentioned a little bit before that tomorrow is Friday the 13th, and hopefully our Friday the 13th episode is dropping tomorrow.
We'll
But
see.
no one's going to know that
I
because,
can't wait.
because this
Excited to
is
listen to
a few weeks ahead when this will come out. But my question for you two is what is your go-to Friday the 13th to watch? Like if you were only going to watch
Oh.
one, which one would it be?
We did a Friday the Friday the 13th one. I think the first one is really creepy. I like the second one. I think because then when Jason comes
Yeah.
around, it's like
Yeah.
way more scary.
Yeah.
Hell
But you
yeah.
got to kind of, I like
Yeah.
to ease back into it with the first one and then you just go right to the second one, you know, every
Because it's like 2 weeks later, right? It's like
Yeah.
directly after it.
Yeah.
That's good. You guys?
So I forgot what we rated. I think we rated the same one the highest, right, Rich?
Fourth
And
one.
was the
Was the
fourth
fourth
one.
one.
Fourth one, the
So
fourth
we're
one.
we're huge
the
fans
fourth
of the
one's
fourth
good.
one. We feel like it really kind of gets into like what the essence of like Friday the 13th is. It kind of lost like a lot of that artistic merit and just kind of turns into like it's a straight slasher and
Creative kills.
Yeah, like I think
Hey, what's the one where Jason throws the girl up against the tree? I like that one. What's that one?
Is that 4? She's
Which
in the
is-
sleeping bag and he
that's
like
part-
just
The
throws her
sleeping
That's
bag.
against the tree.
part 7 actually.
part
Oh,
seven.
I like that
seven.
one.
You know,
And then they show it in X. They have like a
They do show it in X. That's the-
yeah, they have like a kind of
I
like a
kind of like
remake
X.
scene of
I
it.
liked X. I saw that in
Well,
the theater.
you should listen to our episode.
I
to see
will.
what you think about X.
We did not like it as fondly as you did. But
Did you watch it at the theater though? Because it was, I
No.
remember being so excited. There hadn't been one out in a long time, and I was like, I think first in line. This is like back in the day when you had to wait.
I
I honestly
skipped
might
that
be
one.
misremembering the numbers too, and I'm like, wait,
Yeah,
I like
there's a
the
lot
second,
of
but
them.
I'm like,
There's
there's
a
so
lot of
many.
them.
I'm like, yeah, they all meld together.
Yeah, I would say the second one might be my second favorite after the fourth one.
Yeah.
Okay,
When Alice
okay.
finally dies, you're like, thank God. Worst.
Ash doesn't
You're
like
like,
Alice very much.
No, I don't like Alice. Worst final girl.
Too much
I would
screen
agree.
time in the second one. She's like on for like a half hour in the second
10
one. It's like,
minutes.
come
She's over
on.
Just kill her already.
Not 10 minutes. You
Have
did
it.
Come on.
No. No, it's a 10-minute recap. She's in the film at least 25 minutes.
No.
So the recap is 10 minutes, but she's in like half
All
the
right, I'm gonna
movie.
go put it on now. I'll be back. I'll let you know.
You come
She's
back.
the worst.
Do you
Come
guys-
back in 10 minutes.
You guys handle this. You don't need me, right? Yeah, I'm good.
Do you talk about the remake or the reimagining?
I
Yes,
like the
we did.
remake a lot.
We
love the
did, and
remake.
that's one of our faves.
I liked
Oh,
it too.
man.
I liked it too.
I know Ash and I differ on that. I
Rich,
wasn't a
sorry.
huge fan of the remake. Or the reimagining, sorry. But yeah.
What didn't
but
you like about it? Just curious. Just
I didn't find it scary. I guess my screamer meter would be low on that. Yeah.
It wasn't
I didn't find
scary.
it.
No, it
I
wasn't
wasn't
scary.
like I wasn't attached to the characters. And I don't know why I was in the first
You're really
few, but I
attached to
was.
the
I was
characters.
like, I was
Okay.
really attached when Kevin Bacon was stabbed with the arrow, but yeah. Maybe
No,
I
but
need
the
to
girls
rewatch.
were better. I liked watching like Jason in HD. It was awesome. You're like, all right, like the woods, everything just looked better. It's great. He was stronger and faster.
Yeah.
Faster for sure.
Yeah, I think if I was to just watch one, I would probably do the remake just because it's very fast.
Really?
And yeah, and it moves quickly and it
Yeah.
has like, it has like a quick, opening act and then it shifts
The
really
brother
quick.
sister, I don't know. I wasn't into that.
It
That's
just felt
the
very
big flaw of the
Texas.
movie.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
the brother sister thing is like
yeah,
the big
it
flaw.
seems a little off, but
Yeah, it was
I was like
awkward.
a little Texas.
no, it's like it's like Texas Chainsaw. Sorry, we
Oh,
don't
sorry.
we don't give.
That's how you said it. It's like
we
a
call
Texas thing, and
no
I'm
we
like,
call Texas Chainsaw Massacre Texas. We
We're lazy.
yeah,
Oh,
we're
okay,
lazy.
we know now we're in on the lingo.
yeah,
Okay.
we just
Okay.
say like F-13. We don't like
Okay.
like it's too much to say. But,
Wait, I
You
have
can't
to
say
ask.
the Friday.
Okay.
You can't that extra syllable like
Yeah,
I
it's
really
start
too
does it.
slurring, and the less
much.
words I say, the better.
gotta cut it out.
But wait, Texas Chains. Texas. Okay, I like the remake with Jessica Biel.
Mm.
I was like
Yeah.
so scared.
I
That's
like
actually
that
one of my
remake.
top scary movies. I saw it in the theater and was like
I like
blown
that
away.
remake.
I thought it was so
Yeah.
good.
Which is the
Yeah.
same director as the Friday 13th remake.
Friday 13th, yeah.
Well, it might have been scarier. It
Didn't
was
do a
like
good job on the Friday 13th remake. We'll have
Drop
to
the ball.
rewatch it, Ash, and compare it. But I
Jessica
just
Biel.
remember
I'm
not
like,
liking
she
it.
was.
Oh, I
good in
love
it.
Jessica Biel. Yeah.
I think Texas came out first though, right? Is that
Yeah.
correct, Rich? Yeah.
Yeah,
so
correct.
so we
By a
had
couple
some
years.
practice on Texas, and that's probably why they brought him in for the F-13. Just because it really had that gritty. It had that gritty feel, and so yeah. So just finally, guys, I mean, there's a huge chance that people are going to start stalking you after you're on this show, or you may go
Oh
viral.
my
Or
God.
any sort of situations like that. So
Yeah.
if you want that kind of attention, how can people find you? Where should they go to listen to your podcast? How should they contact you to, be on your show or for you to join their show? What would you want the people to know right now about you guys?
Yeah, I can hook you up with our social. Who
All
wouldn't want
right.
that kind of attention, right? Who wouldn't
Oh
want
yeah,
that?
Yeah.
it's coming. So be careful.
Obviously.
Don't we warned you. So
Yeah,
Once on
obviously.
horror heads, your life's never the same.
You're never the same.
it's not.
So we are on like all your regular socials, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and it's Sips and Screams Pod. So just search us. We're on there. Message us. Love to hear from everybody. And then you can also Gmail us, like old school Gmail, sipsandscreams.podcast@gmail.com. And yeah, we're there, and we're everywhere where you get your podcast. So Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you go, we should be on there. So like, rate, and review. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, that's awesome. Definitely check them out. I think, people that listen to this podcast would definitely like your podcast as well. And I wish you almost didn't give like your email address, because we get a lot of hate mail, and it usually just says like, Jerry, you're really stupid, and Rich, you're hot.
What?
So
Do you-
I mean,
do
I
you
don't know.
really?
I don't know why that happens. It's just like, it's like constant, like every other email is like, oh, Rich is so hot. And then it's like, Jerry, you're
It's
really
me.
dumb.
It's me.
It's like,
Are
I
you
don't know.
serious? You
Like,
get,
I don't know
if,
I don't
Are
know
you
if he's
kidding
just
me?
like making
know.
up,
They
like,
just know.
like accounts.
Are you writing those?
You just
pictures? Are
sound
writing
it. You sound like it. Yeah.
I just sound
Very-
sexy. Yeah.
We have some pictures up on Instagram, so they can see what we look like. We're not anonymous or anything like that, so they could definitely see us. But
We haven't had hate mail. We get some
No.
trolls sometimes on TikTok, and I love it. Like
Oh.
I am into
Yeah, we
that.
like to
Uh,
engage with
I
that.
like
It's fun.
responding to
Do
them.
you have a story? Do you have a story of a troll that you maybe want to share right now? You don't have to give any names, but maybe just
Give
And maybe
names.
troll is like too intense of a word or something, but they'll just like disagree with like we post little reels on TikTok and they might disagree with something. So I usually approach it with humor and kind of like de-escalate the situation. And sometimes they're like, all right, fair enough. You know what I mean? Like it's like really kind of benign, the response. But yeah, it's really it's not much of a story, to be honest. It's just sometimes you get responses that disagree.
We may want to cut this part. We don't know.
It might not be the interesting part that we keep in practice.
Don't know. We're probably gonna cut this, but like we actually called someone out on the show, and then they emailed Rich like the next.
Day.
Oh really?
Yeah.
No.
I totally,
we didn't mention a name. We did not mention a name, but
no.
And I said it.
But wait, they were listening. So they were listening to you, though. So you know what? Take the engagement.
I said all these things. I said, dude, this is probably our #1 fan, and you're gonna hear about it. And that's exactly what happened. The day the show was released, he got an email.
Yeah, so it was somebody that like contacted me personally regarding a film I directed, and I'm not going to go into more detail, but yeah, like basically, like I read his text out loud, and then the day later, he's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you said that out loud." I was like, "Well, it was funny. Like, what do you want me to do?"
Wait, that's
he's a
funny
fan.
though.
Oh wow,
that means he listened. I don't know. That's kind of cool.
I don't know if he's a fan anymore.
I made him famous. Come on, doesn't everybody want to be mentioned on the Horrorheads podcast, even if we're laughing at it?
If we start getting hate mail, I'm blaming you guys though. I'm like, hey, we had a nice clean
From the second this airs, it's like,
all right, it's us.
Here, you hang out with those guys.
It's us from our accounts. Okay.
They're the worst.
So are you all ready to talk about some films?
Oh God,
let's do it. I think so.
All right, cool. So let's start. Let's start with the 1974 classic Black Christmas, which is credited as the first holiday slasher movie, and one of the films that Halloween was accused of ripping off, basically, because it's very similar. The cool thing about this movie, it's basically about a killer that stalks a bunch of females in a sorority house. And what's clever about it is that most of it's like point of view from the killer's point of view, and you never really get to see the killer, really know who the killer is. And there's lots of different like red herrings throughout where you think, oh, the killer might be this guy, might be that guy. You never really know or get to like see about him. So it's super creepy in that essence. And it also is possibly the first movie that had the phone calls coming from inside the house kind of movie, like where they're getting a lot of prank calls, and which is super, super cool. And they copied that in, When a Stranger Calls, and probably 100 other movies. But yeah, so this movie's a classic for a reason. I would say the violence is a bit toned down a bit. It's 1974, right? So it's not really bloody or graphic. Some of the kills are a bit inventive, and they did that by design. The director, Bob Clark, didn't really want this overly violent movie. The script apparently had a lot more graphic violence in it, and they wanted it toned down. And the reason why he's like, I just want this to be creepy, I don't need it to be overly bloody or gory. So like, y'all picked this movie. Why did you pick it, other than the fact that this is Christmas and it's possibly the best known Christmas horror movie? But are there other reasons? Is there another reason?
That's it right there.
That's it.
Googling,
the first one you thought of, right?
Podcast over.
All right, have a good night.
Christmas movie.
That's a wrap.
But I hadn't seen it. But I don't think, like, I saw it like when we were kids, probably 5 years old or whatever.
6 years old.
But hadn't seen it in a long time. But on because the language in it, I mean, you forget about that. But
you watch it with subtitles on, because you're like, what the hell?
Imagine.
It's very
it's quite problematic. Even for its time. I feel like it must have been quite problematic.
What they're referring to is
like
there's a lot of prank calls throughout the movie that are, we believe, done by the killer, and he does use some very graphic language around female anatomy. And one thing that I did,
that's a good way of putting it.
That's what I say. One thing I did read is that when they were filming it, the director was the one kind of pretending to be the prank call, and it was a lot tamer. It was a lot tamer, the things he was saying, and then they added all that overly aggressive towards female stuff in post.
It was, how they made the sound of it too. It made it sound. It was like almost sounded like The Exorcist.
They made it. He recorded. Well, I read that thing about the director doing it first or someone else doing it first, but they recorded it apparently like upside down to make it extra creepy. Which is why you couldn't really hear it.
That's interesting.
The sound in general very muffled in it. I mean, back then, all those movies, right? But yeah.
His name is Billy, right? Is that what he was saying? Like Billy, right?
Billy. But it was based off of that, like of a story, like an old like wives' tale or an old story, right? It's like the babysitter and the man upstairs, and so many movies like did this after that. But I thought for the first one doing it, I thought they did a good job. It was creepy from the very first scene with like that voyeurism and everything they did. And I know Halloween kind of exactly copied that, but I really liked that very first scene.
But you are forgetting about Agnes, right? It was like the two people. It was like Billy and Agnes. He was like conversing with himself.
Oh,
He
oh,
had, like,
was
two
he?
personalities.
Yeah,
Billy and
there's
I
like
Agnes.
didn't
a
have
female-
the subtitles on. I didn't hear Agnes.
I
That's
thought
great.
like his sister or something was
There's
Agnes
like a
his sister?
female, there's a female
Yeah.
voice in the background, which we believe is the
Oh.
killer
Okay,
doing
okay.
both voices. However, it's never really clear as to
Right.
who's actually on the phone, which is really interesting. Again, you never really get to know the reason behind the killer's
I know.
motivation.
I
You could
know.
have theories, but it's never really clear. And I think too, like watching this movie, I've remembered it differently, where I like remembered it being the killer being a certain person that you're like, oh, it's like I knew it was him all along. And then on the
Yeah.
rewatch, I was like, oh, it's very ambiguous as to what kind of happens in the end, which makes it even
Yeah.
creepier, I think.
Yeah. Ending was amazing.
Yeah, I did really like the ending. And I didn't remember any of the ending either. And then I did think when they came in that it was the boyfriend, right? And then you're like, oh no, it's not over because there's like 5 minutes left. You're like, oh no, something else is gonna happen here.
You never know though. It's a 70s movie, right? And they do
You
throw
never
in a
know.
lot of bullshit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but
just
those
ends.
just all the like I was very surprised at how long that no one ever went into that attic,
They
no
were
one
looked
ever
everywhere.
suspected. No one suspected. And then at the end you can see her in her cellophane, like you can see it from the window, but no one saw it until then, or
I
even
mean,
then
these are
they didn't
small
see
town
it.
To look
cops,
up.
right? And
Yeah.
these cops look like kind of morons. Like they
Deputy Dews.
like the
Why
one
didn't
guy
they
didn't
go
know what
check the
fellatio
attic?
meant.
No one
you
checked
know?
that. There's no smell coming from it. It had been a couple of days, a couple people
It's
up
cold
there
though. It's cold.
decomposing.
They looked everywhere but up.
It was filmed in
You're alone.
Toronto. Yeah, it was
But
cold.
the
That
ba-
was
okay.
colder than cold.
Oh, well, that's also why I wanted. It was filmed in like literally
Oh.
a few streets from where I used to live.
Oh,
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, I used to live in Toronto, so it was filmed. I've never, maybe I have like walked by that house to be honest, because I'm like, oh, it looks like
Probably,
Amityville / Home Alone, like the house, right?
Yeah.
It's like
It's
very.
just such a creepy house, and they chose the location like based on like the creepiness of that house.
Yeah, it was
Well,
creepy. Very-
hopefully you all looked up to actually see if there was a body in the window
Would have.
rocking.
I thought I'd
And
see.
I
Well, now.
I-
If you didn't before after watching this movie, I think every time you're gonna look up and see if there's
like,
like
wait a
woman
minute,
in
what's going on there?
Was she actually rocking at that point? Like she was still moving, or he was moving her?
It's probably a little drafty in there, I'm assuming. So there's probably some movement. And I definitely want to talk about that. I think just the way this film starts, obviously with the POV of the killer, but honestly, that first kill of Claire and just the way it's done with like the plastic bag over her
Yeah.
head. You're not expecting that in like the first 5-10 minutes of especially like a 70s film. And
Yeah.
then the fact that it never leaves. Like once the body in any movie is dead, you never see it again. We don't revisit it. We don't look at
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But this stayed with us the entire film. And
Yeah.
that's what really started getting to me. I'm like, oh, this is
Yeah.
brutal. I'm like, oh my God. Now he's like rocking it. And I was just sitting there. Still has the
He
bag.
put a
He
baby-
didn't
He
take
put
the
a
bag.
baby in it
Yeah,
at some
it's
point.
just-
It was like
oh
a
my
baby
God.
doll.
It was
But they never showed her decomposing or
gruesome.
anything, right? I think
No.
she stayed. It stayed.
She went like rigor
Pristine.
mortis at that point,
Yes.
right? But she was very stiff, I'm assuming.
It felt like it was like Christmas break. So maybe there was like maybe 3-4 days, I think, maybe. I don't know how
Yeah.
long it took. So
It feels like a few days, yeah.
yeah, it feels
Well,
like
I
a
mean,
few
if we're
days.
gonna compare it to Silent Night, I mean, it was like the next day, and they're talking about the smell of that
That's true.
abandoned house.
All right. I'm going with
They
the
had the
cold
same
attic
kill.
again. That's it.
We'll talk. They had the same kill with the plastic, though, right?
They
all-
did.
Yeah,
Okay,
they
yeah,
did.
Yeah,
They-
the exact same kill.
They copied that.
Like, that's a
They
thing.
did.
Yeah.
And you never see the house woman. house mother. We don't
Oh,
see
Miss-
her again after she
Mrs.
dies,
Mac.
do we? Mrs. Mac.
Mrs. Mac. Yeah.
Liked
I
her
thought
alcohol. I mean,
Oh, she
was-
Mrs. Mac
Bonnie.
and the
I-
hidden bourbon that she's drinking all throughout the movie. I
Oh
love
yeah.
that.
Let's cheers to that
Cheers to
because
Mrs. Mac.
Her
Cheers,
and
Miss Mac.
Barb.
And her-
Barb
and her
is
lipstick.
trash the entire movie.
oh yeah.
I read that Margot Kidder, who played
Go to bed, Barb.
Barb,
You're drunk.
was drinking for real. She was drinking real alcohol.
Oh, really? I
Because
mean,
she
it
wanted
seemed
to
like-
actually be drunk. Yeah.
Oh, she was good actually. I really
good.
enjoyed her character.
Okay,
She's
so
awful,
Mrs.
but-
Mrs. Mac was like Shawshanking her alcohol, right? Like she Shawshanked. She had it in like the Bible. Like she just Shawshanked.
Like why?
it
They drank there. I don't understand why she had to hide
the
it.
toilet, the toilet. What?
It was like hanging, dangling. She was smart enough to like attach like a rope to it so she could get to it. You know,
She's so
she wasn't
happy.
like
That,
digging it.
that
Yeah.
was so unnecessary. I mean, everyone was like of age. I guess maybe she just had a huge problem, or she just likes toilet bourbon. I'm not quite sure like what it was. And
It was the danger, I think, you know? Just like the thought of getting caught. I don't
feel
know.
that.
Mrs. Mac was an interesting character.
I thought it was super funny that you said that Barb was actually drinking. And I think one of the funniest scenes is when she's like at that party and she's trying to give that little kid a drink and the kid just starts drinking it. And I just wonder if like as funny as it was, but like would anyone get away with doing that like nowadays in a film? Like I'm not quite sure, but it was so funny. I was like, yeah, drink it, kid. I'm like,
I wonder if that was scripted. Do you think that was scripted?
That's what I'm curious about now, because he's
like,
saying that she was
drinking.
She's like, here, drink this, kid. And the kid's like, hell yeah. You know, I'm just curious.
That was so good.
Yeah,
one thing I didn't realize that I forgot is that there's a lot of humor in this movie, like with the interactions with the police and like that scene you said. I mean, like there's that one scene too. Barb is talking about like turtles fucking for 3 days. Like, like she's at a dinner. She's at this dinner table with like these like old crotchety guy looking for his daughter, and like I forget who else, and she's like, you know, turtles have sex for 3 days, and I can't get a man to last 3 minutes. Like,
yeah.
And I did look it up, and there is a species of turtle that does have sex for 3 days. So that was actually
so she was telling the truth. Is what
she was not. Yeah, she was telling the truth. I googled it, and
that's funny because
cheers,
pre-internet,
pre-internet.
That's how you
3 days is a lot. I don't
know. You know,
yeah, 2 is like my limit. Things. Like after 2, I kind of got to tap out for a little bit.
I just feel like it's not comfortable for anybody, you know? 3 days is a lot. But yeah. But the father, I mean, she's just saying this like drunken, and then she goes to sleep, but that's it for her, right? She goes to sleep and doesn't really wake up.
Go to bed, Barb.
Go to bed, Barb. I want to say that to people.
It's like
you're drunk.
You're drunk. It happened to be
said to me before
yesterday.
But hers was the best with the unicorn though. Like, come on, I'm like, someone's gonna die with that unicorn thing.
And
that was
it was
you're
perfectly
brutal.
placed. Yeah.
But amazing also.
That was
they don't
probably
fight back. They're just like, man.
It's like real slow too. I thought that was probably like the kill of the film. I didn't see it coming. I was just like, that's an interesting, decorative piece. And then also I was like,
you didn't see the sharp point. You didn't think like, oh, that's gonna stab into her.
I was pretty innocent at that point, just thinking like, that's really nice. Maybe everyone needs a unicorn
I need one of those
in their bedroom.
Look how I thought actually when we watched that maybe she was just gonna die like Hand That Rocks the Cradle style, like from the asthma attack. But that didn't happen. And again, I guess they kind of copied that from that movie. Also the Innkeepers.
Yes. Mrs. Mac had the best kill though. What, the swinging?
Oh yes.
She also just stood there. She was just waiting for that to come to her.
And then she gets lifted up.
It was like hoisted up. Yeah.
Hoisted up. And she's dangling, and now she's up there too.
How did that happen?
At least she was drunk when it happened. Maybe that's why she didn't have the reflexes.
Yeah,
like she just like what?
Billy was some sort of genius to like somehow craft some sort of hook and hoisting system to.
He's like Kevin McAllister.
And like, why go through all that though? Like, why you don't need to do that? Like, she's probably easy to kill. Like, she probably wouldn't be that challenging.
Because that was the most complicated kill too, right? And it was Miss Mac. Like, I feel like you're right.
He wanted to do it in one fell swoop. He didn't have to carry her up. He wanted to kill her and then just drag her out when she was done.
Okay, but maybe that is why though. It was like a pulley system. Because there was gonna be it would take some work to get her up there, and he had to hide the body.
Yeah. Well, he didn't hide it.
Why hide it? No one's going in the attic, apparently. Why would you need to hide it?
Literally looking everywhere. Should we look in the attic? Nope.
There's even like a ladder to it. It's pretty like visible.
Like there's no way they're up there. There's no way. There's nothing up there.
The cat's meowing also, but no.
Yeah. She just wanted her little cat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
how'd the
missing
cat get
cat
up
got a lot of
there?
people. Yeah, that cat got a lot of people killed. At least two people. Just that cat
Yes.
meowing. That well,
What happened to the cat? Do we know what happened? I don't think we ever saw the cat
unfortunately
again.
I think Billy took it and he's feeding it now
And raising it as his
and
own.
raising
Billy.
it as his own. So I'm gonna pretend there's a world where Billy's taking care of the cat.
I like that for the cat. Like the
Yeah.
cat has a home, though,
Well, it
as a
lived a
cat
long, healthy
person.
life. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I found strange about this film, and I know we're kind of like praising it here, I find some issues with this particular film, but one thing I found kind of strange was like the whole Jess Peter thing, and
Ugh,
Yeah.
Jess is pregnant, and I
yeah.
just really
Yeah.
thought that was strange drama to kind of
Yeah.
input into
Agreed.
what is a horror film. And I feel like they spent a lot of time on like kind of building that tension and drama between them. And
Mhm.
me personally, until they actually got to like close to the end where they're kind of showed Peter stalking around, I never really thought that he would have been a potential killer because they were happening before he
Yeah.
found out that she was pregnant. So I just
Yeah.
feel like that was just like a weird kind of subplot that really didn't go too far, or they didn't really like flesh it out. But like that tension that, he wants it, she doesn't. It's like, I don't know, for a horror film, I just wasn't feeling it. I'm gonna be honest with you all. I just wasn't
So
feeling that.
I have a note on
Yeah.
that actually,
Go ahead.
and the director didn't want to make a movie that over sexualized women, and he wanted them to seem very real. So he
Mhm.
wanted to create like a real problem
Mm,
that they might deal with.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. It did become very drama heavy and like melodramatic actually, but that was the reason behind it is he was trying to make
interesting.
it like these are real people going through real things that there just happens to be this serial killer picking them off versus like a Friday
Oh,
13th where it's like just a bunch of horny teenagers that he's killing.
yeah.
That was what I read anyway. Who knows how true that is,
And,
but that's what I read.
And she
I-
wouldn't say "I love you" back to him too, which I thought was in that very first scene too, right? She was
Yeah.
very strong. So I think that was probably a choice as well, right? That she had the agency there.
But he like it makes I totally I thought it was like silly as well. But
It was.
when he's like, you better have this baby or else. Like
Yeah,
that
I hated
created, I guess-
Peter.
It's like a
Like,
red
Yeah,
herring.
everyone
Yeah.
hates
I don't think
Yeah.
anyone liked Peter, right?
Yeah, I want Peter to
We
die
agree.
immediately. When he
Yeah.
starts smashing that piano, I'm like, God,
Yeah.
please, someone walk in right now and kill this guy.
Just kill Peter. Also, he was like, what was he, like 40 years old? Like he's supposed to be like
It's a
19.
college student.
I'm like, what? Yeah.
Dude
They
had a
should
great
remake it in
beard.
2025.
But he also went in and took a nap. Like he did sneak into the house. He was like, I was taking a nap. Like, what? Like in what
You're-
world?
you're
I
a
don't even
teen.
understand. And apparently
Yeah.
also none of the doors were locked. They realized at the end that only one of them was locked. I'm like,
Go lock
maybe
them
after one
all.
person went missing, you would like lock the rest of the doors. Like, I don't know, on windows.
Mhm.
Might be a thought, Yeah.
So I read a theory that this is me bringing back Agnes again, like the split personality thing, which I don't know, like there's this like theory that Jess like let Billy in at the beginning because she like opened the door. So there's this whole theory that she's Agnes or something.
Oh,
'Cause
wow.
we don't know if she
Oh.
dies at the end, but there's this whole theory that she might be like in on it or something. I don't know. That's one of the theories out there.
Oh.
That is super interesting. Yeah, I mean, because we really don't know what happens
No.
at the end. What I did find very strange is that this was the scene of multiple homicides, and
This letter
there was
stack.
a massive police force there, and they're like, you know what, everyone, let's all get out of here and let her take a nap. It's like
She's
she
gonna be
needs
out for
her
a
rest.
while.
It's like, are you like, you just leave, like just shut the door. Everyone's like, all right, that's it. Shut the lights. Everyone's like,
It's Christmas though. They want to get home.
50 people just left the
Was
scene.
it Christmas Day at that point?
It was-
They had presents to open. They had to get home.
They had to take the father. What's her face's the first girl that died. Claire's father had a heart attack or something, right? Some of them, but they all
Yeah.
went. They all
just,
Yeah.
took him to the
it
hospital.
was-
Gotta go. She'll be okay.
like, let's all go. Let's leave the
Yeah.
homicide scene, but let's make sure this guy is okay. And to me, I'm gonna say it's lazy writing. I don't
Yeah.
think that was like it didn't make any sense at all. You built up this entire like drama and this great
Mhm.
story, and then you
It's
kind of end it like that, which we call banana peel, where you're just looking for a way out. You just slip on it and go. It's like you got out of it. You made your way out, and that's what that kind of felt like to me. And
Yeah.
another problem I have is like, it does have like that 70s feel where just like the middle of it, it just feels like a different movie. It almost feels like almost a Dirty Harry type film or like a TV movie drama that was
You've
on
done
in the
it, yeah.
70s where like there's really nothing happening. There's just like people, like the kids are talking to the police and the police are doing they're just doing an investigation. They're having stories and conversations that have nothing at all to do with like moving the plot of this film. And I think the thing that annoyed me probably the most was when they were trying to trace that call and the guy was just like running around the room. And I
But
think
you learned something about how they trace calls back in the day.
it
That was
can't be. It can't
insane.
be.
Like,
It
how
can't-
is
it
that
can't be.
Dear
possible?
God.
Like it literally can't be that way. It's like there had to be like
I need to
three
know. I
people.
would love to
Why not
know.
3 people? Why not 4 people? They're trying to trace a killer. They have
Have
this one
someone at
guy.
everything.
Yeah, like one guy running, and they kept like almost redoing that scene, and it got so repetitive, and it got so
Yes.
old
Like,
and
yeah, give it
annoying. And I'm
longer.
just like,
Like,
God,
okay.
stop it. I'm like, we get it. Like once would have been appropriate. We would have understood the process, but the second time, all right, all right, enough. Stop it. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
done with it. I did not like that, and I know this movie doesn't have a really long runtime, but just scenes like that made it feel so much longer to me and really took me out of like the tension that they were building
Yeah.
in the house. So that's the problem I
That's a
have with
good
this
point.
film. So curious what everyone else kind of thought about that scene in particular.
But I agree. Like I was like literally fast forwarding. I'm like, can I
Oh,
fast forward some of this? Like it's kind of
Those
boring.
those
I
fast
didn't even
forward
think of
10
that.
seconds.
It's brilliant.
I'm like the ending saved it for me. I'm like the ending was so good, like creepy. I'm like, oh yes, this is what I want. But
The
I
scenes
could've
in the
literally
house were the
fast-forwarded.
best. The scenes in
Yeah.
the house were really good. And I
was
think,
creepy,
yeah, those were like the best.
Yeah, I was like waiting for like some kind of twist too. I know the ending was like lazy or whatever, but I actually liked it. I liked the zoom
Kind of
out
was
and
a
then
twist
he's
though.
still there. Yeah, they should have
Yeah.
ended it with the cat coming up on the bed, like taking a nap with her. That would
Just so we know the cat's okay. Yeah, that would.
Yeah, like you don't want the cat to be dead.
I'm still thinking about the cat. I still want to know. I mean, I like to think that cat's with Billy, but
Wait a minute. I know the cat's
Rich,
name.
is that
Claude.
the cat?
Yeah, he survived.
Reincarnated
Descendant of Claude.
50 years later. Yeah.
I don't have everyone's name, but I have Claude's name here. That was the cat.
Claude.
You wrote that down. That's one you remembered. Mrs. Mac,
Mrs.
Claude,
Mac, Claude,
And Barb.
Barb.
That's what you remember. And Billy. That's what we remember
Billy.
from the
But
movie.
I watched the end. I watched it on Amazon, I think. I had like rented or something. And then I didn't get the ending, by the way. I finished it. I didn't hear the ringing at the end. Like something with the sound. I'm like, what the F? I'm like in the credits roll. I'm like, what's happening? I'm like, that can't be it. I'm like, it just ended with her taking a nap. So I had to go back and rewatch it and turn the volume. I'm like, oh, that makes more sense. So
He's
I had
still
to
there,
re-
Ash. Do you know it now?
Oh,
Billy's
I did-
still
well,
in
we
the
saw
house.
Spoiler.
Does this remind you of Billy?
Or-
Eyeball?
Or Evil
Listen,
Dead. That was like Evil
Eyeball?
Dead. Like
It's a
How was that
1974
part of the
film. If
movie?
you haven't watched it,
The eyeball. I'm sorry. That is
Before
that
we
was
wrap
the
this one
funniest
up
thing
and
I've
give our
ever-
ratings,
Sorry.
I just have one last fact of this movie, and apparently it is Elvis Presley's favorite horror movie. And
Oh.
he watched it every year until his death, which was 3 years because he died 3 years after this came out. But apparently, for the next several years, his family would watch it once a year around Christmas to remember Elvis. So,
that's a nice little fact.
so isn't that sweet? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's sweet,
So,
Elvis.
Rest in
Elvis,
peace.
and then he made like his
Black
Christmas
Christmas.
albums, like the best one, you know?
Because of
Christmas
Black
songs,
Christmas,
so it all
basically.
comes
Yeah.
full circle. Yeah.
And apparently, they didn't even want to call it Black Christmas because they were scared people would think it would be a blaxploitation movie. The
Oh,
really?
original title was Stop Me, and then they said no, Black Christmas is better, which I completely agree.
Way
And
better.
apparently, it was renamed during its theatrical run to Silent Night, Evil Night, which didn't
Right.
work, and they changed it back
Yeah.
to Black Christmas. So that's all the facts I have on this one.
Amazing.
We don't need any more Silent Night.
Yeah, no.
Finding Silent Night 2012 took me an embarrassing amount of time.
It's
So-
same. And I was like, no, it's 2012. And she's
I'm
like,
like,
"Is it
I can't find it. I can't.
I literally hope we all
I'm
watch
trying.
the same film.
I doubt it. I doubt
I
it.
think
Be
so.
like,
Well,
what are you
we'll find-
what are you
we'll
talking
find
about,
podcast.
Jerry? Like, that
We
is
all
not at all what
flamethrower. We
happens.
all watch something with a flamethrower.
Yeah,
That's all
we
that
all
matters.
just-
Something. We watched something.
All right, so before we get to Silent Night, let's rate this one. How we do it on this show, different than the, what do you guys call it? The Scarometer?
We call it the
Screamometer.
Screamometer.
Yeah.
Here we do Bloody Knives. We rate every film on a scale of 0 to 5 bloody knives. And how it works, we play a little drinking game here. And how it's going to work tonight, we're going to do things a little different. And tonight, the number of bloody knives I give the movie is the number of sips Allie needs to take. And the number of bloody knives Jerry gives it is the number of sips Ash needs to take. And then we will split it, do it vice versa. So
Team.
I already forgot what I said, but Allie, I drink for you. Ash, Jerry, you drink for Ash. That's how we're
You drink
gonna
for me. Okay. All
I'm
right.
I'm in.
That
Get ready
sounds
to get
great.
drunk.
And we'll all drink together. We're all just so we're not just like there's random 3 seconds of silence. So we're all gonna drink together. But let's
So
give
who's
the
going
ratings.
first?
I'm gonna give
Everything, but who's
mine
going
first because I just feel like taking charge. I'm gonna give mine first. I'm gonna give it 3 out of 5, and the reason why I'm doing that is again, movie's a classic. I do really like it. It's got a lot of awesome, creepy stuff in it. The killer, even though you don't get to know him, is menacing and terrifying. However, like Jerry said, there's 45 minutes of this movie where nothing happens. I could do without. I did not think to fast forward, but next time I will. But yeah, I'm gonna give it a 3. Allie, how about you? What do you give this one?
I when you said 3, I was like, my God, same. So I'm also giving this a 3 out of 5.
And you can do halves too.
Yeah, I
Doesn't
think I'll
need
stick
it.
with 3. I don't think doesn't need it. Doesn't need it. Doesn't need it. 3 out of 5.
I'm just trying to get you to
Again,
give a lower number so I drink less, but that's fine.
3. I want you to have three sips. Yeah, I think the same thing. I think the voyeurism aspect of it and the creepiness, the phone calls alone, it just the sound of that old school phone in an empty-ish house, that I think will do it for me kind of every time. So for me, yeah, 3 out of 5. I think it's eerie. I think it does kind of stick with you a bit. So yeah, that's my rating.
All right, Ash, how about you?
Nice.
And I'm sorry, I keep
Of
saying
course-
Ash. It's Ash, not Ashley, right? Is Ash?
Yeah, I like Ash. I
Perfect.
prefer
Good.
Ash.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna do it
My
anyway.
Good friends
so.
call me Ash. So you guys No, I
You have no choice. I already. It's what I'm saying.
Part of it.
Obviously, I'm disagreeing with Allie because I'm okay.
Oh,
and I said I
God.
fast forwarded.
Here we go.
I'm giving it a 1. Sorry, I'm giving it a 1. I
Oh.
think it's a classic.
Jerry's
I
happy
think there were
about
some
that.
scary moments. I had to fast forward some. It kind of took me out of it, like you said. Like I was a little bored in it. I thought the ending saved it for me. I thought the ending was scary, actually. So that's my 1 out of 5 for me.
All right,
Okay.
I could definitely drink one, and I'm gonna take my one sip after I give my rating, so we can all sip together. But I'm only sipping for like 1, which feels great because usually
You're welcome.
yeah, things usually go downhill for me really quick. So to me, this film, it felt like really disjointed, and the scenes, like those comedic breaks, they really didn't work for me. They just kind of felt like they were out of nowhere with like the cop getting shot and things like that, and the extra melodrama. So I'm giving it a 2. I do
Okay.
like it for a Christmas film, but I don't love it as a film. So 2
Yeah.
for me. So let's cheers and take our
All right,
Cheers.
so
Cheers.
3 seconds from Allie and myself, 2 for Ash, and 1 for Jerry. Cheers.
Mm.
All right. Cheers, guys.
Okay, so now seems like a great time for us to get into a drinking game. And since this is our season finale, I'm going to do something that I never did before. So basically, I put together 2 drinking games, and with very little information, Allie and Ash, you two are going to decide which drinking game that you're going to play. So one of them is about Bob Clark, the director of Black Christmas. The second one is going to be about John Saxon, who plays Lieutenant Ken Fuller in Black Christmas, and really how he's kind of typecast a lot of times. So that's really the only information I want to give about these drinking games, but it will be trivia about either
God.
Bob Clark or John Saxon. So
Got this,
uh,
Ash.
yeah, if you guys want to converse for a second and choose which one you want to play, and then we'll just go forward with that.
And don't be afraid, because Jerry usually loses every drinking game.
Yeah.
So like, do
Like,
not
you're
Ash
gonna-
Bob
be
Clark.
intimidated.
Ash, this is the Bob
No,
Clark one.
100. Yeah, because I don't know
100,
anything about
right?
Saxon.
Okay. Yeah.
Bob
We're
Clark.
gonna go with the Bob Clark.
Bob Clark.
All right,
questions.
Bob Clark. Okay, so it's going to be super simple. We'll just be the teams that we are. It's going to be Sips and Screams versus the Horrorheads. So you're a team,
Okay.
we're a team. So really, he directed a lot of weird films. I am going to name a film, and you just have to guess of whether or not he directed or not. If you
All right.
get it right,
Okay.
Rich and I will drink. If you get it wrong, you two will drink. Does that
Okay.
sound okay?
No, I didn't consent to this.
It's like, I don't think so. That sounds good.
Do you want to be on their team, Rich? Do you want to leave the team? And
I think I
I'll
do
just be
actually.
solo
Yeah,
over here.
that's what I want to do. I want to join
That's
the
what you
Simpsons
want to
Screams
do.
team.
That's what you want to do. Okay,
Yeah.
He's
so
abandoning you.
All right.
Abandoning you.
I feel
Jerry.
that, you know.
Come on over to our
I mean,
side.
Don't let me down, but I'm
Water's
joining
warm.
Simpsons
Water's warm.
Screams.
I mean, this doesn't hurt me. It's just putting a lot of pressure on you two to get this right. So,
I
so
know.
Rich, even though that
But I'm
you're on
thirsty,
their
so
team, you
whatever.
cannot help them with the answers. Okay, is that okay?
That's fair. That's fair.
All right. So you cannot partake in the answers. So it's just Allie and Ash.
All
Okay.
right.
So I'm gonna name a film, and really, you just have to say yes, he directed it, or no, he directed it. That is it. That's all you have to do.
Okay.
Super simple. So let's get into the first one. Porky's.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Yes, he did that one.
Drink, Jerry.
All right, I picked the
Big
right
gulp.
team.
Big gulp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Baby Geniuses.
Baby geniuses.
I'm gonna say no.
You
on
said
Ash,
weird.
No. I'm gonna say no.
I feel like he's tricking us.
What do you think? I'm gonna say no. Ash, no.
When did that movie come out?
In the
He died,
90s.
right? He died.
I don't know the years. All I have is yes or no in front of me.
Ash,
so I
say
can-
no. No.
No, he's tricking us. It's yes.
Final answer, yes.
Yes.
Final answer is yes.
Is it?
Ash is right.
Nice.
You know why? Because you're like, he directed some really weird movies. That's
Well,
why.
not like Black
It's your own
Christmas.
demise,
Like, you know,
Jerry.
that's really
It's your own
I mean,
doing, Jerry.
But
There's only one other one I know he did. So this is weird.
all
Okay.
right. So how about the Blues Brothers?
No.
That was like an
No.
Oscar movie. Yeah. No. No.
Final answer.
Final answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, you're 3 for 3.
See?
Drink.
Yes.
Okay.
You made it to
Jerry's
me
feeling
the
good
50-50.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting into it, but it's going to get a little tougher. I just want you all to know
Okay.
that.
All right.
All right, here we go. Next film. Children shouldn't play with dead things.
I don't even know that movie.
I'm gonna say no, Ash.
I never heard of it. So no.
No.
He actually did direct that film, so that's
Oh,
a yes.
Damn.
You know what?
Rank up,
All
guys.
right, fair enough. But
I'm thirsty.
I'm gonna, yeah, I kind of wanted a drink, so maybe we did that on purpose.
I didn't.
That's all right. We have some more, so it's okay. Like I said, it's gonna get a little more difficult.
You're in LA. You're like earlier. You're good. We're like
That's
all
it.
East Coast.
I
You're like-
I literally have the biggest presentation of my life tomorrow at like 10 a.m. So this is
Perfect.
Oh, great.
Wow,
Oh,
you are
fun.
committed, Jerry.
yes. So if my boss is listening, I'm not drinking at all. This is
I hope your
No.
boss is
Strictly.
listening.
this
Apple
is
juice.
strictly, for the podcast. I'm faking it. This is a lie. All right. Here we go. Next film. Phantasm.
Like, Al, have you heard of this movie?
No, never heard of it in my life.
You've never heard of
No.
Phantasm?
I feel like he's
There's like
tricking
no.
us
5
here.
of them.
There's 5
No?
Phantasms.
Is it a horror movie?
It is a horror movie.
Yeah.
It is a horror film, but I'm only
Never
talking
heard of
about
it.
I'm talking about the original Phantasm. I know
I
there's 5,
don't
but I'm
even
talking
know
about the
it.
I don't
know
either.
it.
You guys are like real niche.
I'm gonna say no, but he didn't do a lot of horror
Yeah.
movies. Up. No,
No.
no.
Correct. He did not do Phantasm.
So-
Rich probably knows who did it. Yeah.
Yeah,
We
Don,
might
need
to
Don
watch it.
Coricelli, I believe, is the director.
Don
Wait,
Corselli. Okay.
I think that's the director. I might be wrong.
What's
on
it
that, but
about? Okay, well, maybe we need. Does this need to be on our radar? Is it worth?
Is it like
watching?
Fantasia?
No,
Yeah,
so
that's
it's
what I like.
about this like alien demon that like steals dead bodies and turns them into monsters. It's a weird fucking movie. It's like a cult
Yeah,
classic
it
kind of
doesn't.
movie.
Oh, okay.
Say less. Say less.
Yeah.
It's
just
it's worth watching the first one because it's like unintentionally bad and they made
Yeah.
like 5 sequels.
I mean,
of
I
it.
like unintentionally bad ones.
It's
I
where
do.
you should see it. You should see
Me
it.
too.
'Cause it is a classic.
it's worth the
You'd
watch.
know it.
and
I think
there's
if
so
you
many
watch it, you'd be
iconic
like,
scenes. Yeah.
yeah. You have
We
to,
should
like,
do like a really weird niche episode, Al.
if you watch it, you'll
we'll
be
do,
like,
like, the weird
oh, I
aspects.
know this movie. Like you maybe haven't seen it, but you'll know it when you watch
You'll
it,
recognize the
'cause-
characters at least. 'cause
Okay.
They're iconic. But
Phantasm. Okay.
let me
All right,
move
cool.
on here. Okay. So A Christmas Story.
Yes, we know he
Yes,
did that one.
that's-
That's the one you
yes.
knew. Okay.
That's what we knew.
Yes, that's the one I
Cheers.
knew. The lamp.
That and Pookies. That's
And the
like
house,
it.
as I said, the house was.
Yeah, enjoy that, Jerry.
Mm.
And
You're
also
five
your,
out, you're 5 out of
presentation.
6 right
I mean,
now.
I like that. I was at a bar this weekend in Baltimore that had that had the Christmas Story lamps on the bar, and it was
Oh,
amazing.
that's so cool.
Like it made
Yeah.
my day. Yeah, it was incredible.
And there was
I'm
a
all
guy
for the
down
house,
here.
but like I feel like Like, does anyone else have one of those? I kind of want one for the
You
house,
should
like
get one.
at Christmas
For
time. I
yourself.
don't think
Definitely
I
for
want it all the
Christmas,
time. Like,
yeah.
I don't think I want that up all year round, but I'd like
Strange
to.
decor for
Yeah, a
sure.
little strange decor.
There's a guy, it was like something in Florida or Florida man or something, but it was like his front like decorations was like a huge sculpture of that lamp, that very lamp in his front yard.
I love
So
it.
yeah, it was like in the news.
Dedication
Michael,
right
that's cool.
there
Yeah.
to a Christmas story. All right. So we have a couple more here. Hopefully it turns around and things start going better for me. And if they don't, we'll just play the John Saxon game anyway, but we'll see how this goes.
Oh God. I don't-
all right.
yeah.
So here's another film. All right. The Never Ending Story.
I'm gonna
No.
say no. No.
No.
Man, you guys guessed too well.
Yeah.
Damn it. Oh.
I hate, okay, can I
Thank
just
God.
tell you that the never ending story just brings back really just visceral, like Sunday night scary moments
Oh.
for me. Like, I hate that
Yeah.
movie. Remember the Sash me as a kid?
Yes,
It
the
would come on,
goddamn
like,
flying dog.
yeah, I
hate
can't. That
it.
movie like makes
What's
me
the
feel sick
flying
to my
dog?
stomach. Even
Really?
you
So
mentioned
Halloween
like
didn't
that.
scare you as a
Oh,
kid, but
No.
that
Yeah,
did.
but the Never Ending Story did.
never ending story. Yeah.
I feel you.
I
No.
wasn't sleeping at night, you know? Yeah.
Like
Man.
that and like Labyrinth were like very
Ugh.
Yeah, Labyrinth
Ending
scared me
Story
as a
scared-
kid for sure.
yeah, like not cool.
So for anyone keeping track, things are not going well for me as usual. I had a
No.
He's
full
passed out.
I had a full old fashioned, and now I'm down to just one sip left, and there's only one film left. So, I mean, you guys are killing it.
Ready.
And what we like to do is place a little bet on the last question, and this basically is you could bet just a one if you want, but you could bet all the way up to three. So if you were to get it wrong, you would have to take three sips. But if you get it right, I have to take three sips, and I might be able to get three sips out of this if I try and I let
If
this
you, if you
ice melt
swallow the ice.
a little bit more. But I did go through a lot. So the question is do you want to place a bet? And what is
Yeah, let's
I
do
want
it.
to bet it all.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Do it. Let's go
all right,
for it.
So
I
I
like
like some
our
whiskey
odds.
behind you. You have like
Oh
a
my-
bar behind
Yeah,
you.
you've got, like-
it's I'm in
What's that one that-
I'm in the
yeah.
bourbon room there. So
Yeah,
it's some
That looks good.
Oh, the bourbon room.
Blanton's,
yeah,
Blanton's.
there's some
Yeah,
that's some
Blantons,
Blantons
yeah,
back
there's
there,
some
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about you
Angels
guys with your
Envy.
podcast, but we're making big money. So we made so much that he has a bourbon room now. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should be getting that Blanton sponsorship any day now. So
We're waiting for a Topo Chico sponsorship. Just we mix it with everything. That's our.
Some away,
We,
maybe
we will
away.
have made it at that point, you know.
I got you guys, Topo Chicos. I know you follow us on Instagram, so please check out Sips and Screams and sponsor them immediately. Send that case over today. All right, there you go.
Today.
Done. It's happening. It's probably in the mail right now. All right,
Thanks,
so here
guys.
we are. The final, it's not only just the final question, but is the final drinking game question of season 1 of the Horror Heads. And there's so much riding on this.
Oh,
and this is
man.
crazy. And it's just
pressure.
going to be a complete
stressful.
failure of a season for me. Or will I at least win this one question? So here it
I
is.
don't
This
think
is the
so, Jerry.
last. I don't think so either.
I think so.
The last
I'm good
question.
about it.
Did Bob Clark direct When a Stranger Calls?
No, he did not.
No, he did not.
Looks like I'm drinking the 3.
Yeah, that was easy. Okay, that was not special. That's easy.
That
All
was because if he
right.
did, I mean, he stole from himself, you know.
I
I'm
picked
drinking
the
We have to
right-
bring that
Like,
back.
I picked the right
I'm
team.
thirsty.
Yeah.
Damn.
Good for you, Rich. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
so
haven't
again,
even
if you guys
seen-
need a third host, like I'm happy to jump ship at this point.
You want to
because-
come over to our side?
All right.
I think
So-
I'm over
so-
this horror head shit.
so you all talk for a few minutes. I need to like recoup here. Otherwise, there's gonna be a lot of editing, like in the Friday the 13th episode. I just got a little out of hand. I don't even know if I was making sense at the end.
All right, well, let's talk about our second and last movie of the night. Let's talk about Silent Night, which came out in 2012. Again, there are probably 100 different Silent Night movies, so good luck finding this one. I found it on Tubi actually, so you can watch it for free. And what this is, it is a very, very loose remake of Silent Night, Deadly Night, which I've seen, but I don't remember very much about it. So my initial take on this movie, at first I was like, I turned it on and like within a half hour, I'm like, I hate this movie. It's just, it felt very like sci-fi channel to me, like just like one of those like generic kind of really bad dialogue and like some B or maybe C level, maybe even D level actors in it. Like,
Generous, yeah.
kills were kind of off camera. It's like a lot of annoying characters, but it does kind of pick up and become a little bit more of a fun slasher. And it really kind of, for me, takes a turn when there's a scene where they're filming some kind of like softcore porno movie.
Yes.
And the violence
say.
really ratchets up at this point.
Oh,
And
Aw.
yeah. And I will say, I am a huge fan of the actress who gets thrown in the wood chipper, Courtney Palm, who is in one of my favorite movies, Zombievers. I'm just shouting that one out. And I'm thinking, like, how do I know her? What do I know her from? And I'm like, oh, yeah, Zombievers. If you haven't seen it, watch it.
Zombievers?
But
That's
so,
what you
yeah,
know for.
Zombievers.
It's a great film.
It's
It's a
an amazing-
classic. It's a cult
amazing
classic.
movie.
Yeah.
It
Great
came out like
film.
a year or two after this. But yeah, so some of the kills are like kind of a bit over the top and cartoonish and not something you would normally see in a slasher movie. And just to set this one up, when the killer, who is dressed as a Santa with this really creepy mask, is trying to kill Courtney Palm, first he like tackles her and tries to put a plastic bag over her head, which I think is a nod to Black Christmas. That doesn't
Yeah.
Oh,
work.
yeah.
She gets away, jumps out the window, runs into like a Christmas tree farm where apparently no one is working or no one's even out. She's topless in underwear, running
It's like
through
Christmas
the town.
Eve too.
No one
For
even
so
notices
long.
this. But whatever, we can suspend that. And then the killer cuts off her foot, then drags her over to a wood chipper. First, he throws her foot in the wood chipper and then tosses
Like,
her
that's what's
feet
coming.
first. And it's like an amazing shot of her like underneath of her sliding into this wood chipper
Yeah.
and lots of gore and stuff.
She never stops screaming till the
No.
very
Even while she's getting
At what
even while
point? At what point is she like,
amazing
dead?
kill.
Yeah.
And then it gets better from there because then the kills just kind of start getting a little more violent and over the top. And I wouldn't say I like overly enjoyed this movie, but I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought. Because again, I'm texting Jerry like, "Why did you choose this? This is fucking boring, miserable." And then that happened, and I'm like,
You're
I
like,
think I even
know.
texted you. I was like, "Wood chipper, holy shit, I'm in." And then like,
Listen,
I kind of stuck with it.
there's something very satisfying about watching a very bad film, and I think we could all agree about that. We wouldn't really be into horror if we didn't love like what is
I agree.
a
with that.
bad film. We're not watching Gone with the Wind. We're watching
it's-
Silent
it's-
Night from
So bad, it's
2012
good.
with an old Malcolm McDowell.
Oh, he's so good in it, though.
Yeah.
I have like these notes. I'm like, this is like Seven, like a Christmas. It was like Seven, but like a Christmas themed Seven, right? With the vigilante killer. Like I loved it. It was so good.
Thank you. See,
And like
yes.
Right?
children, adults, like he didn't discriminate. He went after the kids too.
Oh, that
He
kid!
did.
I wanted that
That
kid.
That kid
gone.
sucked.
That
So
kid
when I was
sucked.
I have a note like when she's like complaining to her mom about going to the thing, and I'm like, oh, this kid sucks. And then like
Yeah.
2 minutes
But she
later,
died.
he's
She's
gone.
dead.
So I'm like, oh, okay.
Did you feel
Okay.
guilty?
I didn't at
intel-
all.
His intel was very fast though. I'm like, so immediately they're just like bad all around. Like he knows because he's Santa, I guess, and he just like
Well, he
immediately
delivered the
kills them.
presents though, so I think it was
He
premeditated.
knew, yeah.
Yeah.
But-
'cause he
so the
He had a
one that
naughty
did-
list. He had his
Yeah,
naughty
he
list.
didn't-
He did it. Oh, right.
Because they got
So-
the coal.
So I love this because it felt like if you like took the didn't like consider the kills, it's like a little Christmas movie. It's like a nice downtown, like,
Hallmark.
nice Christmas
Thank you.
music.
Thank you. Yeah, the
Right?
atmosphere
She's like
was
going
awesome.
downtown.
Yeah.
And so I'm like it's like just a horror, like a slasher Hallmark Christmas movie, which I really enjoyed.
Thank you.
But
Thank
I
you.
like-
That's exactly what I like about it.
Yeah.
You're saying all the right words. It is like a
Yeah.
weird kind of like small town SantaCon like
Yeah.
event going on there with like a weird Santa
There's a
parade
lot
with
of
like
Santas.
a
Yeah.
serial killer
too
kind
many,
of.
maybe.
And I don't know if we
I-
gave the plot to this yet, but basically
there a plot?
there's a serial killer dressed as Santa like running around loose on Christmas Eve, and Aubrey and Sheriff Cooper have to find him before he strikes again. The only problem is that the whole town is filled with Santas and everyone's a suspect. I mean, so it's a little bit of a mystery, but I really enjoyed like really that small town
I did too.
atmosphere, and I really enjoyed like if we want to get into like the cinematography and things like that, I enjoyed like
Yeah.
that bluish green filter. I
Mhm.
love the neon saturations. There were so many things that like were almost comforting while watching
Yes,
this
that's what I'm saying. It
film.
was like Hallmark. Look at
But
Hallmark.
yeah,
Compare
It
it.
set you, yeah, it set you at ease, and then it threw you these like crazy curveballs, like the wood
see,
chipper.
they're on that
Yeah.
vibe, Rich. I'm almost shocked that you didn't like it because it starts with like a head popping electric chair scene. I
Yeah.
thought
So
like,
good.
if you're gonna
Yeah, I
open
did
up,
like the opening scene.
yeah, like if you're gonna
Yeah.
open, and it did feel like Seven, it totally felt like
Yeah.
that. So
It was
I was a little
7.
shocked that he wasn't feeling it. I'm like, how else would you open it?
Here's what I didn't like about it. It's that I don't think it really knew what it was. Like it's like not overly serious, which is fine, but it also wasn't really funny. So it's like there was a lot of like jokes in it, quote unquote jokes, but they didn't land. It was just kind of like that was really my thing. The writing was really bad, but it was
Yeah.
like writing trying to be clever that was bad, not just like bad writing. So it was like it was kind of like cringy at a lot of times, and like
Yeah.
the
Oh
acting
yeah,
is really bad. Like even the
cringe was
characters
10.
that even the actors that are well known, like Malcolm McDowell, it's like they all phoned
Yeah.
it in, and it was
He was
just
like
But I
at
feel like
11.
but
and
like
like
had he not been in it, it would have been so
it would
much worse.
indeed in him, and like
He did
he's
need it.
like he's just great to just watch in general, and his voice is like
Mhm.
just iconic. But like just to talk about the writing really quick, like there's a scene towards the end where Malcolm McDowell faces off with the killer who has a flamethrower, and I forget the exact line, but he's like, "How dumb are you to bring a flamethrower to a gunfight?" It's just like
Yes. Yes.
Stupid. It
but
was
like it wasn't even funny.
is
That I don't know.
dumb.
It was just
it
was
is
dumb.
funny.
It
It's
was
stupid. It's dumb funny.
I agree. It's like
Yeah.
stupid. I
Now
feel
there are
like
things I
they
liked
tried to
about the
be
movie
like
for sure, but like I just felt like
Excuse me.
it didn't fit. Like I don't know. It was like it didn't like I said didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
It needs to be
it
funnier.
didn't do well at like the box
It
office.
was everything though. You know, it was just
It was
everything.
nothing and
It was-
everything at the same
It was all the
I-
kills.
I like to think that when they were making it, they thought they were gonna like do for Christmas what like Michael Myers did for Halloween. Just failed miserably.
They're like, this is
They're
brilliant
like,
right now.
yeah, they're like, this is it. Like he can walk around as Santa Claus and no one's gonna know he's the
No one's
killer.
gonna
Like
know.
Michael Myers can walk around on Halloween, and then so there were some missteps obviously there, but yeah, I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. But again, I agree with you, Jerry and Ash, that like yeah, it was like a Hallmark Christmas movie with like some kills thrown in. Yeah, a little bit of mystery there.
The wood chipper, it
Alone.
turned everything on its head. I'm like,
It
oh
did.
my God, this is amazing. This is so good.
Yeah, the kills in it are really good. The kills are great. Like the ones that they show. Like there's that one where the guy gets his head cut in half with an axe. That was awesome.
Yes.
Especially because that actor was terrible. Like he was
He
just
was
like
so bad.
he was awful. Like
Oh, I
you hate
hated
him,
him.
but he also just couldn't act either. But like seeing that was really cool. There's
Yeah.
the one scene where the guy comes up to the car and gets like I think it's like a fire poker in his face or something, which was really
Yeah,
They
yeah,
attacked
yeah.
There's
the other
cool
deputy.
moments. There's super cool moments, but I
You're
think it
saying
just,
things of like a 5-star film right now, Rich. You're
Yeah,
saying
it's
You're
like-
you're speaking my
it's
language.
great.
these are the tent poles of a top movie.
I get
Oh
it.
yeah.
And if anyone ever like, have you watched anyone here watch Silent Night, Deadly Night recently? Like this movie is 100
have.
times better.
I
than
believe
that
you.
Film.
I believe
I
you.
watched Silent Night, Deadly Night like with like my current husband's like family a few years ago. So it's like again, we all
Really?
sat down. Yeah, with
At
yes.
Christmas?
Did
Yes,
you
at
like
Christmas.
it?
We they rented it, so they had this thing that they would do where they would rent the stupidest horror movies, Christmas movies every year, and sit down and watch them. And this is one of the ones that they rented. I don't think I liked it that much.
Did they like
but
it?
I don't think they liked it. I don't think they like horror movies at all. I think it was like we watched it as a joke. So I think I liked this one better. But I liked they gave more of the backstory on that one. This one we
Yeah.
only got the backstory at the very end, and I don't know if I like that. I feel like that was just added on at the end to
Agreed.
make people feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish
did
I
anyone
wish
feel
there was like
bad?
figuring it out.
Did
Yeah.
anyone feel like it was a very satisfying movie because everyone that died, you're like, yeah, they deserve
Yeah.
it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
that's
the old
exactly what I
lady at the
want.
church,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, don't
She
hurt
didn't
her.
die.
He didn't.
Yeah.
He gave her
just
back
paid her
her
some
money.
bloody money. There's
Yeah.
blood all over it.
I literally hated every
Oh,
single
Rich.
person in that
Yeah.
town. I
No, but the
really hated that
father,
one.
Not her
Not the
father.
No, not her
father.
father, not her father, but that one guy that played like the rude Santa. Like I hated that guy from like
Yeah, I
the
Oh, I
hated him
hated him
too.
too. I hated him too.
second.
Ruining
like-
Christmas.
I'm like, this guy needs to get flamethrower immediately.
Yes,
Like that is it. And
But was the flamethrower in the original? Because I'm like, that's an original
Yes.
weapon, right? It was in the original?
I think it was in the original, right?
Yes,
Because I think
yeah,
I think
it
that
wa-
whole scene, yeah,
it-
where he
it-
went to the
it
wife's.
was, but it just wasn't as cool for some reason. I feel like they really kind of like knew that the flamethrower was
Yeah.
going to be like the biggest like moment in this particular film, so they really pushed that. But I think they did a lot of crazy things in
Oh,
this
good.
film. I mean, we keep talking about that wood chipper, so we all know that's like a 10 right there.
A
But
10.
then
Like,
there's this moment where like the Santa Claus is in a church.
yeah.
And there's a
Oh, yeah.
priest, like a
Oh,
really angry,
Okay, can
like
we talk about
Oh,
the
that
priest?
go
priest.
ahead,
Not
let's
creepy.
go for
Ew.
it.
Wait, that priest was just like so
Roll with
creepy
it.
again. But and not
Disgusting.
only like his voice too, and they made him so menacing and so creepy at the
Yeah.
same time. Like I was just waiting for him to get like killed brutally
You
by
you
him.
thought he was
Yeah.
gonna
It
get
was
I had
disgusting.
no idea this guy was
Oh,
gonna get killed.
I did.
And I
You
was
guys
like,
taking
Yeah.
the pictures of the women?
Yeah,
Like, no,
and
was
he was
dying.
gross.
I thought he was gonna
No,
be okay because I'm like,
no.
they're not gonna go there, but
He
they
was a
went.
false prophet, you
Yeah,
know?
they
Yeah.
He
they
sucked.
went there, and not only did like they slice all his fingers off, but then he gets stabbed like
Yeah.
repeatedly, and it was like such a brutal
So many.
scene. And
Good.
I just thought it was awesome. And what I found really funny about the town is at this point, there's probably like 4 or 5 kills, and the police have no idea like who the killer is, and they're still going on with this parade. And
Yeah.
they're like, no one's even considering. They're not even considering to like cancel this parade.
Cancel
They're
it.
like this parade is the biggest
It's
thing of the
happening.
year. It's happening. I don't care if there's 50 people that could get killed. Like we're doing this SantaCon parade, and like it was. I found that's like so funny because I'm like, all right, I'm like maybe you should cancel it. I'm just throwing that out there. It's like
But the father was like looking at the Jamie King character, like telling her where to go.
He
Like,
mhm.
there's just some weird
And
things
they don't
there.
show some of the stuff that was like off script. They don't show like the kill,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. they
But
don't
I
show.
thought that was sad. But I know we found out at the end that he was the cop that killed his father.
Killed his
But like
father.
still, I didn't like that. That was sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't
Well, no,
need
it was
that
a-
last 5 minutes for sure. Like, and I
Yeah.
get they're
Yeah.
trying like I know the whole movie I'm thinking like, what is his motivation? Like, why is this guy killing people? And
Yeah.
then they explain it, and you're like, okay, cool, like great.
Yeah,
Like,
it's too late almost.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's too late. I was like, just end it at this point. Like,
It was too
I
late.
don't-
Yeah, I
Wrap
agree.
it up.
Leave it ambiguous like Black Christmas, but they didn't.
You just officially wait. So I have a question though for you guys. I'm like, mate, was I like watching? I had some drinks. So I was watching it. Did I miss this or something? What?
too.
What? How did her husband die?
They never
happened to her
explained how her husband dies.
No, they never do. I don't think.
No,
No.
they
Because
never explained
I
that.
thought the
No.
twist was going to be that he was the killer. Like
So did I. Yeah, so
Oh,
did I.
really?
I was
Right?
thinking
I'm
that
like,
too.
Interesting.
Yeah,
The
but they
whole
never
time I'm like,
explained
oh,
it.
he's the killer. And they never tell us why. Did he kill himself? What? No, we don't know. Because they're like the
They
holidays.
said
are
she
back.
lost him, so I don't know if he was killed on. Was he also a cop and he was killed on duty? Maybe because I think she said something about like losing her nerve or whatever. So
Yeah,
I think
something like
that he
that.
was also a cop and killed on duty, and it was somehow her fault or something.
With like a
Maybe.
cut scene, maybe. I thought
Yeah.
I was confused.
Yeah, there's a lot of plot holes in
Mhm.
this film. It's definitely not perfect. The areas I really leaned into was just like the fun stuff. I mean, I don't know about anyone else, but I mean, I love Tiffany, who was the coke sniffing mayor's daughter. I thought
Yeah.
she was
She was
hysterical.
awesome. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
and you're
She
just
was.
like, all right, there's just a matter of time for her to like, die immediately. And I was like,
On the
"Whoa."
antler, her
Yeah,
death
that was
brutal.
awesome. That was
Yeah. Yeah, it
awesome.
was just
And
already
that was the
there.
best way for her to
Mhm.
go out because I was
Yeah.
like, what's gonna happen with her? Because they really like kind of ramped her up right in the beginning, just be like this
Yeah.
horrible human being and like she don't give a fuck. And she's
Yeah.
like
I kind of wanted her to
sniffing
survive though.
coke.
I
Yeah,
kind
you
of wanted her to
did?
escape just because she was, they're never like she recognized that like he wasn't in the bathroom. And she was
Mm,
like, "Wait, how did you get over there?" And usually they're
love
like the
that
dumb
moment.
blonde, And she's like,
Yeah.
"Wait," and then she's like, he goes over and he's like, "There's nothing here," and then the door shuts. Like, I actually that probably was one of the better parts of the movie. So
I
I'm
love
also
that
like,
whole
"Oh, she
scene.
was smarter." Yeah, that whole
It was
scene. She was
good.
like smarter than like the typical, I feel like, blonde, girl in the movie or whatever that they usually the horror cliches. Yeah.
And that
Yeah,
antler
that's
kill
good.
is in the original. It was actually Linnea Quigley in the original.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's
Oh, it
Leia Quigley.
was.
Yeah, so she was blonde
Shout
as
out.
well. So there you
Yeah.
go.
So they were paying homage, and the grandfather. So like it was the grandson, right? And I guess that grandfather catatonic grandfather part where he warns him. That's also in the original. So, but I feel like when you watch this, it comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But
And
I
they
love
never
it.
go back to it either.
And
Like,
they never
so you're
go back
like,
to it. It's playing
Yeah.
homage to the original. That's like what why it's there.
Random
not-
scenes.
Yeah, the
Like,
nods are hysterical and don't go anywhere. But I really thought that scene with the grandfather was funny, where like that and really annoying punk kids like, oh, boning Tiffany on the regular, grandpa. And grandpa's like you're gonna die, kid, if you
You're
see
gonna die.
Santa. Like if you see Santa, you better run. And I was
Or
like,
was he trying to warn him though? I feel like he was actually trying to warn him, like not to go.
I was like, was he the killer? I thought like he was getting up at night.
Oh,
and killing
grandpa,
everyone, to be
I
honest.
don't know.
You
thought
thought
he was
Grandpa
faking it.
was the killer?
Grandpa had
It was like
had a
red
flamethrower.
herrings. Yeah.
And like, I mean,
He's in the
some of
back
this,
of his closet, the nursing home. It's like,
I mean, I
The
guess
nurse
that
seemed
might be
in
a
on
good,
it, to be
like,
honest.
yeah, it's a good like
Oh.
alibi maybe.
I'm
But like he had to
listening.
have some strength. Ash, he did some pretty crazy kills.
No, so the
Threw
one
some
like
body
funny
parts.
we're talking about the comedy thing. When he comes down, the little girl like has the cookies out. I really wanted him to like take a cookie. Did anyone else have this thought? When he's
I was
like,
thinking that it would have been funny.
and I was like
Of the
Flight, like
Santa,
Denzel Washington.
she's like, you didn't
He
take a
takes
cookie
the
though. She
alcohol.
says
Yeah, I
that
was
to
like,
him,
he should
right?
have left and taken a cookie with him. That would have been a better scene, in my opinion.
I
But
think
yeah.
you all are writing a better film than the one we actually watched.
I liked it.
We have some notes.
It was
Good holiday fun.
Yeah. Watch this one with your families. Forget
Well,
the Hallmark Christmas
you're
movies.
all
Throw
lucky enough
Silent
that you
Night 2012
probably
on.
will. Not my family, but you all will.
You're like, come on, you know this. We we watch this with family.
There's like a 10-minute topless scene though. I don't want to watch that.
There
It's like
is.
very long.
It was an aggressively
commend her for
long
that,
scene. Like
though.
she's topless
Yeah.
for a long time.
A long time.
Right.
Like running like topless, like in the gravel, like
10
the
minutes.
street and stuff.
Like I
just,
left the
like,
room,
I mean,
came back, and she's still topless. I was
She's
like,
still
wait,
topless.
I made a sandwich and like.
Still going. She's not even in the
till
wood
the,
chipper yet.
till the bitter end, she's topless too. They really just
She is.
shove her down in their feet first. So the
Going
last
out.
things to go. Yeah.
Let's give her another shout. What was that actress's name, Rich?
I think Courtney Palm is her name.
Thank you.
Oh,
All right,
Courtney
so
Palm.
I mean, amazing. Good
so
job,
Courtney,
Courtney.
if-
Palm. Yeah,
if
cheers
you're
to you.
listening,
World record.
which I heard she's an avid listener. Great scene.
Yes.
We all appreciated it. So
Absolutely.
cheers to Courtney Palm.
Mhm.
That's
Cheers
it.
to
I'll
Courtney
DM her tomorrow and just let her know she got shouted out. I'm sure she's
Yeah.
very
Yeah, she's
excited
very
to hear that. She's like, "Oh my God, this is my moment."
I've been
So-
waiting for this.
I know.
Finally, it's all paid off.
Finally.
And look, if she wants to come on in January when we come back for season 2, like we will consider.
We'll watch it again. We'll watch this
Yeah.
exact movie again.
We'll like make that sacrifice.
Yes.
Watch the 10-minute topless scene.
Just so we could like have things to talk about with her when she's on. Like I just wanna
Exactly. Just for
make
that.
sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So I don't have any more notes on this one. You guys let's wrap it up. Let's give it our rating 0 to 5. I went first last time, and I'm gonna go first again because my show.
Wow.
Because
Okay.
I won the drinking game.
How do you know where I am right now, dude?
No,
I
so
lost.
so here's the thing. Like I didn't hate this movie. Like I didn't love it either. Like will I watch it again? Maybe. If someone put it on, I wouldn't be pissed off. I'll give it another
Like
chance.
you'll watch part of it again.
I watched the 10 minutes where
10
Courtney
minutes,
Palm
yeah.
is running around topless again.
Or
But
naked, yeah.
yeah, no, I'm gonna actually. I'll also give it I'm gonna give it a 2.5. I'm mid about it. Didn't hate it, didn't love it, wasn't mad. I watched it. 2.5.
All right.
All right, Allie.
Allie, you're up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Again, like
The pause.
I like enjoyed it.
She's giving it a 5. I feel 5 coming. I just want you guys to know that I feel 5 right now.
Remember, Courtney
I-
Palm is listening, so we should
Yeah. Courtney Palm, you were amazing in it. Those 10 minutes. I mean, that will stick with me for a very long time. This movie, I liked the kills. I liked the Hallmark Christmas moviness of it. But this story just kind of lacked for me. I wasn't like super scared at any point during it. I don't like that they saved all the reveal to the very end. So for me, I'm giving this one a 1.5. Just not it for me. I preferred Black Christmas. I mean, would I watch it again? Yeah, I'd watch it again. But definitely not up there for me. 1.5.
Fair. Ash.
Okay. Oh God. 'Cause
You guys
I
always
feel like I'm,
disagree,
like,
so I think
influenced-
Jerry's in trouble.
No, I feel like I'm influenced by like the scariness of it. I will say this one, like I said before, good holiday fun. I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was really entertaining, like really good creative kills, like akin to like the Thanksgiving movie that was released recently, like really good.
So yeah.
In terms of like a rewatchable, like a Christmas movie, it's very fast paced, but I had so many questions and like plot holes, so I wasn't really that much of a fan in terms of like the scripts and everything. I'm giving it a 0.5.
Whoa.
I don't-
Wow.
Black Christmas was a better movie. This was
Ooh,
good. I
it was a
enjoyed
better
it.
movie.
It was like a comedy though to me. So I'm giving it a 0.5 out of
Man.
5. So you're welcome.
Yeah,
welcome.
thank you.
Perhaps it.
Thank
Welcome.
I appreciate that, but I also kind of feel bad that I picked a film that no one really likes. So
I loved it.
I originally was going to pick a film called Christmas Bloody Christmas by Joe Bagos, and I emailed him to join the show. So if you're listening, bro, just hit us up. But it was like really difficult to find that film. So I changed it to this film, but I also feel like that film reminds me a lot of this one, just with it, the way it looked, and I really like that film. But I'm gonna be honest, this film is a lot of fun. Like it's
It
just
is fun.
it's
I agree.
stupid,
Fun.
it's dumb,
Yeah.
it doesn't really make too much sense. But that I think that those are all the things I like about it. It feels like a small town, cool, cozy vibe, and I love the
Yeah.
atmosphere of like the towny bar scenes and things like that. I like this film, and there was a flamethrower. So I'm sorry, I really like
Fair.
this film
Fair.
a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
So this to me is a top film.
What?
Oh my God.
And I'm giving it a 3.5. I really like this
wow.
film. I
I
like
love
it a
it.
lot, and I'm gonna watch it next year. I like it a lot. So I'm giving this
You're like,
a
I'm gonna watch it
3.5.
tonight, right after
Yeah,
this
I might watch it
podcast.
tonight. Yeah.
Just to recap, I'm drinking 1.5. Allie's drinking 2.5. Ash is drinking 3.5, and Jerry is drinking a measly
A
half.
half.
So let's cheers
Half.
to that.
Cheers,
Cheers.
cheers to
Cheers.
Silent Night.
Cheers.
Awesome.
Man, so that was our season
problem.
finale holiday Creepmas party. Very special thanks to Ash and Allie from Sips and Screams for coming on. We'll give you another chance to plug your various socials and email if you would like to.
Yes, you can find us on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, sipsandscreamspod. Just reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. And we also have Gmail, sipsandscreams.podcast@gmail.com, and wherever where you find your podcasts. So listen, rate, and reach out to us. We love that. And thanks to Horrorheads. You guys are amazing.
Thanks,
This was
Horrorheads.
So much
Yeah,
fun.
this was so
Thank
much
you.
fun.
I'm super drunk. Thanks.
Nice. And again,
Nice.
y'all should definitely listen to Sips and Screams because, as I said, I'm leaving this podcast to join theirs, so you will get to hear me every
Oh,
week.
come on
New
over.
co-host, new co-host on Sips and Screams in 2025.
And
You can add
Jerry
some
will be running
categories.
No, but for real, thank you. You guys were a lot of fun. This was awesome. And it didn't go too off the rails, and that's great.
No.
That's always a good
That
sign.
was Christmas
Anyway.
horror. Let's go.
Yeah, all
That was
right, so
super
cheers to our final sips of season 1. I'm going to finish this old
Cheers,
fashioned
guys.
right now.
Cheers,
Thank
guys.
you.
Congrats on
Yes.
season 1, guys. Congrats.
Thank you
Woohoo.
so much.
To many more seasons. Congratulations.
Thank you. It was an honor to spend our last episode with you. This was great. A lot
Hell
of
yeah.
fun.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Night.